Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Vermont House Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. It is Friday, January 31st, 2025 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This afternoon, we begin our afternoon with introduction to the committee members by the Vermont Retail and Grocers Association. So, Maggie, Ed, if you'd like to join us.
Sure, no problem. Grab the other chair. Yeah, you just put it on the chair. Sorry to switch through.
I need to move anymore, make you.
Oh, I'm
make you
fine, thanks.
comfortable.
Thank you.
Watch our elbows.
Find it to use a feet.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Before we get started, I'll ask the committee to introduce themselves to you, so kind of put a face to the name.
That'd be great.
Well, my name is Jonathan Cooper. I live in Powell, represent Bennett, which includes the towns of Stamford, Reedsboro, Searsburg, and Woodford.
Thank you.
Emily Terrence Duncan, I'm Jonathan's neighbor in South Central Vermont, Wilmington, Whitingham, and Halifax.
Earl Olson, representing Bristol, Lincoln, Concord, and Stark.
I'm Abby Duke, I'm part of Burlington.
And I'm Mike Mark from Coventry, so I represent Coventry, Irisburg, Newport Town, Troy, J. Westfield, Lowell, Eden, and I chair the committee.
Kirk White, represent Bethel, Rochester, Stockbridge, and Hancock.
Michael Luton, Berry City.
Tony Nicholas, representing most of Milton and a little bit of Georgia.
Dave Bosch, I live in Clarendon Springs, and I represent Wallingford, Clarendon, West Rutland, and the bulk of Rutland Town.
It's so nice to see just so many new faces. This is such a brand new committee. It's awesome. So I think the way we're going to do that, for the record, I'm Maggie Lenz. I'm a contract lobbyist in the building. Atlas Government Affairs is my little outfit that I just started. The Vermont Retail Grocers are one of my clients among many. And Ed Fox will introduce himself. He'll tell you a little bit about the organization, and then I can just quickly go over some of our legislative priorities, specifically one, if that's okay. Go for it, Ed.
Well, good afternoon, Chair Marcotte and committee. I have something prepared. This is my first time doing this, so thank you very much. Thank you for having me join today. My name is Ed Fox. I'm the president of the Vermont Retail and Grocers Association. I assumed this role rather recently in September of 2024. Most recently, I served as the CEO of Butternut Mountain Farm, the Vermont Maple Sugar Company, a worldwide leader in the packaging of pure maple syrup and a privately held family business headquartered in Morrisville. Prior to that, I was the general manager of the Hanover Consumer Cooperative Society, the Hanover Co-op, the nation's second oldest and largest consumer cooperative. And prior to that, I was a senior leader with the Vermont Food Bank for about a decade. Being new to the role and in the association world, I appreciate your patience and the time, and will at time defer to Maggie Lenz, who is our lobbyist, as you all know. The other evening at an event, I had the pleasure of listening to Senator McCormick speak, and he talked about the integrity and having respect for this institution and the importance of civility and working together, and that really resonated with me. I recently sent an introductory and congratulatory email to all of you, and I hope you found the attached impact report useful. As outlined, we at the BRGA represent a significant number of businesses in all counties and most cities and towns throughout Vermont. Our members look to us to provide information and resources pertinent to them. In addition, we seek to work diligently and cooperatively with our legislators, and various government agencies and departments for not only our members' benefit, but for the benefit of all Vermonters. I can honestly state that we are not just the voice of our organization and our members, but we're also the eyes and the ears. And we are determined to listen, learn, participate, and work towards the common goal of making Vermont vibrant. I'm a storyteller. The other morning, I heard a local family-owned business owner, Bob Nelson from Barrie, talk about his products. But more important, he talked about the community and his employees. He encapsulated who we are and how important these businesses are to Vermont. Thank you again for your time today, and I look forward to a prosperous session.
I will send the impact report and testimony around. I know you guys don't have it yet, but I'll make sure you get it so you can check it on the website in case you missed it.
Great.
I Okay, so yeah, lobbying for Vermont Retail Grocers Association. I think it's going to be a really exciting year for us. We have a couple of priorities that we're, watching. I think none of them will really surprise returning members. So, data privacy, we're obviously keeping an eye on. We are excited to see bills when they come out, really want to be collaborative partners with you all. We, as you know, have some concerns about the private right of action, but we really would like to come to the table and talk about it and try to hear each other. We want to make sure that any bills that regulate PFAS really are thinking about just the actual mechanics and how businesses are going to deal with this. Can add a lot of operational expense that sometimes, an idea sounds really good and it's just impossible to actually understand how devastating the impacts can be on the ground. This is not just, we're not talking about big box stores. We're talking about your neighbors. These are little mom and pop stores that really, always need to be, I think, front and center when we're having these discussions. I think the one that I'm really excited about working on this session is going to be the swipe fee reform bill. So right now, retailers, grocers, when a customer uses their card, the retailer has to pay a percentage based on the total. So they're paying based on a number that includes tax, gratuity, and that's not money that they keep. So what we want to do, and Illinois passed a bill like this recently, we would like Vermont to follow suit. We would like a bill that removes the swipe fee from the taxes and from the gratuity. There is certainly going to be talk, you'll hear that there's a lawsuit in Illinois over this. There is. The Illinois Bankers Association has brought suit. There's a temporary injunction right now, and that's because there's an interstate commerce clause question. So right now, that injunction only applies to federally chartered banks. So in Illinois right now, state chartered banks, credit card companies, they still need to comply with this law. There is nothing about that lawsuit that prevents us from doing that here. So this is going to be something, we have a bill coming out in the House, a bill coming out in the Senate. I would love to come back when we actually have bills and talk about it. For us, it's just really important. We believe very strongly in consumer protections. Our members are also consumers. They're not just business owners. But the reality is, every dollar matters right now. And so our job in this building is just going to be to protect our members and make sure that consumer protections are strong, but that businesses are able to work with the regulations. I think with that, I'll stop. I think that pretty much covers it.
Questions? What?
For the swipe fee
Mhm.
reform, is that literally for this? Because I know when I run retail, there's a different price for the actual swipe, different price for tap. Is it meant to cover all of the
Yeah,
areas
yep,
so that there's not those?
exactly. Yeah. And I assume the bill will be coming here when it's, I assume that this is, maybe, I guess it could go to the tax committee too. I'm not sure. It doesn't impact the revenues though, so,
Yeah, I would assume it would come.
yeah.
I don't know if this is really a question that is for you, but what do you have any idea on what's being done to address some of the deserts in the state of Vermont?
Nothing specific, but I can tell you that my work with the Vermont Food Bank, that topic is really important for me. I keep close relationships with John Sales, who's the executive director. And then we do work with Hunger Free Vermont on, I say the right word, the promotion of what they do. But as far as food deserts, I don't have anything specific.
Speak a little bit just about the membership of the retail and grocery. Many, what scales? I'd like to learn more about that.
Absolutely.
We have 300 plus members, ranging from small community store to Hannaford's, Shaw's, businesses that size. And as I said earlier, we're in every county and most of the cities and towns.
With Hannaford and Shaw's were thousands of employees, I would assume statewide, or is it just some of the franchise or, you know, the locations, like are all the Hannafords?
Yes.
I see, yeah, so high hundreds. I'm trying to think of what a total head count
We
might
can
be.
get, if you don't know off the top of your
I
head, we
don't
can
know
get you that
if we can
number,
get
yeah.
that number, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we do ask for that for our membership.
So like general stores, do they tend to be members?
Yes.
Okay.
And then of the store, the sort of like larger store landscape in Vermont, how many of those, you know, how many of those are your members versus?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but I can get that information for you, yes.
That's what I wanted to say, if I may. We're embarking on something new that Ed's put together, which is instead of doing in-person meetings, which we did a lot, he wants to open up access. So we're going to be doing regular Zoom legislative updates. We have a lot of people signed up for the next one. This is for members, but I probably will be coming and asking people if you want to sometime, hop on and give an update to our members. I think it's going to be something that would be really valuable for our members to hear directly from legislators.
We'll be holding them on the first Monday of every month, starting next Monday. 2 sessions that are an hour each. And we already have for next Monday, I think we have over 30 of our members signed up for it already.
It's just to keep them updated what's happening here. And yeah, I think we really like to bring legislators in here and there. So I may come stalk you in the hallways.
Questions?
What kind of services do you offer for your members?
We provide them with updates of what's happening here.
And the advocacy.
And advocacy on a regular basis. We have benefits that we offer to our members. For example, Delta Dental or Transamerica 401k program. There's several different, we don't administer them, but we offer them to our members so they can get a group discount. I think we have about 8 or 10 different membership opportunities for them.
Education around
We
regulations.
do education around regulations,
Compliance.
compliance, and any opportunities for grants and training. We provide them with what's happening on the national scene in their industries.
What do you think the biggest barrier is for retail and grocers in the state of Vermont for legislative stuff? Like what laws do you feel are the most impactful that are not good?
Have already passed, you know?
Yeah.
That is a great question.
We'll defer to you
If
on
you had a
that.
magic wand to undo something, what would it be?
You know, I'm not sure I'm prepared to answer that right now. I think that's something that we kind of need to ask the members. I'm here to be their voice and think Ed's, organize them, but I'm happy to, when we have our meeting, ask that question and let you know, like, what are the things? I mean, I can tell you what the issues are. Retail theft is a big problem still. We're not just talking about, a couple stealing things here and there. We're talking about organized crime. It really impacts the retailers. Exactly what we need to make that better is, I wish there was a magic wand that we could do that. There's so much complexity. We're talking about enforcement, we're talking about funding, staffing, I think workforce housing is a huge issue. Obviously, we really care about housing like everybody else. So there's a lot of issues, the laws that are problematic. I wouldn't want to speak out of turn, so I'm going to hold off on that one.
And then the mix of our membership is so vast. I know you're from Barry and you were talking about the cobbler. I know they're great. I love going there, and Bob Nelson, I'm sure you know.
Beverage Baron, yeah.
Beverage Baron. So we have many different types of ownership, family owned.
Clothing stores, Montpelier Bailey Road. It really is vast, and diverse membership. And sometimes it is difficult for certain issues to find a consensus, that's just association, so.
I guess along those same lines, like how are you feeling about the health of the sector in Vermont? Are you seeing new folks coming in? How is there growth in the retail and grocery sector?
I'm not prepared to answer that unequivocally, and really not a great answer.
Yeah, I think it's important too that it's it's been a transition, not talking about the retail grocers and just the organization itself. Erin Segrist did this for years, Jim Harrison before her, and Ed and I are both coming in, he's got a wealth of experience, but we're both coming into Retail Grocers Association as new folks and trying to catch up as well. So
Totally understand.
Question?
Do your members see workforce development needs? Are there specific workforce challenges that other than set the limits of terms of affordability and housing, but in terms of training or certain professions that are really hard to find, that kind of thing?
yeah, I do think again, it ties to housing a lot too. It's certainly part of it. Yeah, finding people, training, but I think, would you say training and just honestly, like finding people no one's applying.
Anecdotally, I can say that we had a board meeting, my first board meeting, and there was a couple members that could not make the meeting because they were filling in for staff that either wasn't able to come to work or they hadn't had the position filled yet.
It's a big problem. So they shut down the Walgreens in Montpelier, there was for a while there, just another anecdote, living in Montpelier, the pharmacy would be closed just strange hours of the day when you needed medication because there was just nobody working there. It's really hard. Yeah, really hard. And it's not, one answer, but I think housing it really is a huge part of it. Also, just one thing that I forgot to mention when I was talking about the swipe fees, I was digging into figures and Vermont, it's about 14 million that we pay in swipe fees that retailers pay on the tax portion, just on the tax portion. So I will I'll submit, my math and numbers. And again, there's no bill yet, but I didn't want to forget. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
I really appreciate your patience. The two different worlds I came from, I could speak very eloquently about them, but but they're just part of what the breadth of the association serves. I could tell you about what's going on with the Hanover Co-op and grocery. Couldn't tell you a lot about what was going on with the Marvin family business because it's a privately held business. But
thank you
hopefully I
so
can come
much.
back and have some more
We'll be in
conversations.
the hallways. Yeah, feel free to grab me. And thank you guys.
Thank you very much for coming.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Shoot.